welcome back everybody. I'm back here on the car, gonna be doing the right front. If you saw in the last video, if you watched that one, took the entire front end apart, washed everything, painted everything, checked everything. I fixed a crack on the left front on the frame, so got that taken care of. I'll show you that over here now. There we go. Everything is greased, tightened. Everything looks good on this side. There was a crack right here. Don't look too closely to my paint job. It looks good from a distance. On this side, got everything painted as well. I didn't see any cracks or anything with the right front, so what I'm going to start doing is putting these components on. I did have to cut out my shock mount. I'm going to change the angle of it just so my shock isn't almost riding on my upper A-arm and smashing in my shock. If you take a look at this one, it was hitting right here. Made a couple adjustments, made it a little bit better. I put some tape on it. It did scuff the tape. That was from the very first race I ran. Luckily, it didn't go all the way through the shock body. All right, first things first, gonna be putting this lower on. And then I got some new hardware for that, so I'm gonna start plugging that into the hole. All right, lower A-arm is on. Seems to move pretty freely, but I got all the nuts on, all the hardware is on. So next we'll start with assembling my upper A-arm before I can throw anything else together. I got it all apart right now. All right, coming over my A-arm here, just starting to put this thing together. I was able to get some smaller jam nuts, which is gonna ring in my right front. Pretty much maxed out. This thing cannot move. This will be bolted to this piece here, and then this A-arm. So the thing can't move, but I'm not comfortable running without a jam nut. Definitely need one of those. So. All right, there we go. Got everything situated here. Moves nice and freely. That's what I'm going for. All right, quick progress report. Everything looking pretty good. I still got to put on that thing, and then those little whirly things here, little fidget spinners. So I got to clean these up, and then I got to put the brakes on, and then is going to be the shock, to where I cut off the shock mount. It was really an adjustable one, but you can't run it in this class, so I welded all the tabs, everything, so I had to cut the bolts off. And then I'm going to be able to suck this in just a little bit more, because what's going on is this A-arm right here is killing my shock. So I did bring it in with the smaller jam nuts, so I brought in even more. So I need to create that clearance up here is where I'm going to do it, and make sure that that expensive shock stays safe. That'll kill a few brain cells. All right, there is a look at my spindle. Had some rust on it. You know, one thing about this class, it's kind of it's more budget friendly. It's still a dirt modified, just has a lot more rules on it. And then the motors don't have as much horsepower, but still a pretty fun class, and they draw a lot of cars pretty much every track here in California. It's one of the reasons I went with this class. So what some guys would do, just buy a new spindle. You know, people are buying brand new chassis every year. So hopefully I'm going to try to prove that you don't need a brand new chassis to win in this class. Takes setup, skill, and maintenance. So that's what I'm doing here. That's why it's early November. Season doesn't start for another 4 months, but I'm getting a start on it now. So going to continue on here, clean this the spindle up, put the hub and everything back on there, and start plugging away at this thing. Look at that. That is smooth as butter. Oh, helicopter. The Chinese are coming. I hope not. That would really ruin racing season. I mean, it wouldn't be good either. Alright, this thing's pretty clean. The bearing, I mean fidget spinner. You guys remember those fidget spinners? Those were ridiculous. Alright, I'll leave this guy up. Go through about 18 pairs of gloves. I'm a clean freak. Well, if you look at my floor right now, you think, no, he's not. Guy's a slob. Alright, there's my locking washer. Very nice. Yeah, this thing would not spin this freely last year. Right, because that shaft was rusted. My cap back on. I might just throw a little grease in there just for kicks. Can't go wrong with grease. And I'll be honest, guys, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I just pretend. So if I did something wrong, call me out on it. Maybe I'll respond to it and fix it on the next video. See, that's dirty right there, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna take that back off and run it through a wire wheel and make it nice and shiny. Stand by, folks. Clean my rotor off. Even though I don't want this brake to work very well. If you know anything about dirt racing, right front, usually you'll have a, let me actually talk here. So the right front brake, usually you have a shutoff. Pretty much most cars in dirt racing, but in IMCA rules, no shutoff. A mod, B mod. I just learned the A mod you couldn't have a shutoff, so I think that's absolutely crazy. So what we do is run the crappiest brake pads possible in the right front. When I ran the late model, we didn't have a right front brake. Didn't even have a rotor on it. So that tells you kind of where I'm coming with. But so far, I spent a lot of time over the winter getting the brakes right on this thing, and the first 2 nights out when I hit the brakes, car turned almost like I had a lot of rear brake in it. So I did have the BIOS all the way to the rear, but that's kind of what I'm used to. This thing drives almost like a late model, just honestly doesn't have the balls a late model does. So definitely miss running that thing. Hopefully someday be back in a late model, but for the time being, I'm gonna have fun in this thing. But if it were my choice, I'd be in a late model tomorrow. All right. I scattered my brake pads. I gotta find the other. Oh, it's in the radiator. Perfect. That's where I left it. I put it there on purpose. Right in the shroud. All right. Yeah, crappy pads. But that's what we want. We strive for non-excellence here. First try, and I didn't drop a pad. Although there's still time. Well, oh, you're stuck now. Whew. to use my little drill. Get out of there. Where everything's good to there. So I think that's just about it, other than the big thing, the shock. So I went ahead and put it down on the ground. Everything's hooked up except for the shock. So there's the angle right there. Pretend you're a shock. Do not want to hit that. Do not want to hit that. But I think as the shock body ends like up around here, and I still have to go down more with the spring. So this top plate here probably shouldn't affect anything. So I'm gonna throw the bottom one on and then kind of eyeball it there and see what we can do. All right, forget that. We're gonna say hopefully we never need you because you suck. Shock. I'm gonna just stick the new one right on there. Okay, so got that in there. I don't have it tight or anything because we might have to remove this a couple times. Probably something around those parts. I don't think it'll touch. It's got some room there where before it was like that. So as it raises up, it kind of goes away, but as it falls back down, it's amazing how much this thing can travel. All right, so this is the old shock mount. Basically went in there. It stuck out a ton. So the plan is to cut pretty much where I got that line right there. Maybe see if I can get 2 holes in right here. I put it back in there and mark it up, put some holes in, and then weld it up. So that's the plan. This thing is hella thick. I'm gonna try to cut this thing off with I don't have a plasma cutter. I'm gonna try to cut it off with a wheel here. So stand by. That's what we got so far. Looking pretty good. I can still get the shock off. I have just 2 bolts holding it in with some lock washers. Cut the top off, and I'm gonna throw some beads of weld here, probably down here, maybe across the top a little bit, and then clean it up because my welding's not the best, but I just need it to hold. That's all that matters. Just got finished welding this thing up. It ain't going anywhere. I got a weld on the back side, weld on the top, weld on the sides. I welded all the bolts in, welded the bottom. So this definitely not going anywhere. So that was my goal. So I brought this thing, used to stick out almost to like here. So brought that in and it's still clearing everything. So I'm able to get, if you can tell, my tire got more of an angle. It's kind of hard to see on camera. So yeah, I'm gonna clean this up. Throw some primer on this guy, let it dry, put some red on it. It's gonna look factory. All right, probably gonna end the video here. Got everything primered. Just gonna let that dry. Last time I didn't wait long enough, started running, had to redo it all. All right, I appreciate you guys tuning in. That'll wrap it up for today's video. So just making progress on this car 3-4 months before the season starts, but might as well start now. Get things dialed in. So I appreciate you guys following along. If you can, drop a comment, leave me a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, we'll see you next time. Peace.